Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's see, we've made it through Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And today we actually have a special guest, Nina, and say your last name. Petosia with American Title. And she's going to answer some questions that we all have as the public if you've never bought a house, or even if you have and you just go with the flow, but we want to make sure that you understand what we're doing. So first question, Nina, why do we need a title company? Why do we need title insurance?
You need insurance to protect you from the day once you close and you get that insurance on it. We're ensuring that that title was clear. And the reason we pull up the title, we find out if there's any errors on the prior deed. We find out who all may need to sign. If there's any HOA information that may be, they've got a lien on it, there may be a judgment on it, there may be a tax suit on it. If you don't get title insurance, you don't know these things. So you've just inherited the
Other
seller's
people's
problems. So if you do that, we clear all that up at closing, and then you have a clear, we're ensuring you have a clean title once we fund it and you receive your policy.
And let's say something comes up later on, what happens?
Then you would call the policy department and they would file what's called a claim, and they work all that out. They usually go, they usually pay whatever the issue is, and then they'll go after the seller if there's an issue that they knew about and didn't tell anybody about.
So the new owner just contacts basically the insurance department because you've insured the title.
Right.
And the insurance company pays whatever
They figure out they'll pay the lien, and then they'll have to research and find out who's actually liable for that. I mean, the seller or maybe a prior seller, but that's why we do an extensive title search, especially on the seller.
Right. Okay.
To make sure there is nothing there that we may have to pay.
Okay. Okay. And is this something, I've had people ask me, can they just do a title search themselves?
They can, but they're not going to find what we can find.
Right. Okay.
And like if something was just filed, you have to know where to look for these things. They
Right.
run a name search through this database. I'm not an examiner, so I don't know, but I know they pull up some stuff that's like, wow,
Right, because we've seen it where same names.
Right.
So then you have
Same
to
name,
verify.
right. We have to find out if it's them, and you'd be surprised how many times there's a judgment of some sort that is the person, and they have no idea.
Really?
Yeah, and then we either have to pay it or get a release on it. A lot of time, most of the time, it's not them, and we just do a not me affidavit, not same person affidavit at closing, and that clears it up.
Okay. Very good.
Good to know.
Juby, you have any more questions?
Just one more question. We've been hearing a lot about fraud. Could you elaborate on that for us?
What kind of fraud? Because now I have run into personally had an investor that bought a property, and once we closed, he went over to the property and started working on it, and somebody stopped him and said, "That's my house," and presented him with a deed. Okay, well, I had talked to the seller several times. She came in for closing, and he sent me a copy of this deed. It didn't have the correct legal description on it, and it was obviously not her signature. Of course, I sent it to her. She filed a police report. She actually knew who it was that said it was his property. So there's a lot of fraudulent deeds. That's another thing that we check, because we've had people that say, "Well, I own this house and I'm selling it." Well, it may have been in an estate, and there's other errors. And if you don't have a title policy to know, because they can come back and claim on that, and if you didn't do a title policy,
Good to know.
You know what I mean? Or they do a fraudulent warranty deed.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And what about? So we have a lot of wire fraud.
Lots of wire fraud.
What's a good thing to look for?
Well, if you receive, like after closing, and this just happened recently, and it just so happened I was helping at one of our other offices, and the seller came in, and I had closed him several times here. So I knew them, you know, and they got an email right after we funded and said, oh no, I want you to, and it looked like it came from him. I want you to send it to this bank account. We've changed our minds.
Oh.
Well, they called him, and he said, I didn't send that email. That's not my bank account. So that's one reason people get irritated with us. If there's an issue on their whatever they filled out at closing, we ask them to come in face to face and to correct it.
And it's to protect them.
It's to protect them because this is happening daily at every title company. So I have a lot of friends in the title business, and we're all running into it. They may hack your email and send it. Oh, my client decided to send it here. Send it to this wire, you know, this bank account instead of what they filled out at closing, and we can't do that. We have to verify, call all the parties involved, and most of the time they did not.
So even if they're buying and they receive an email saying, wire your funds to this,
You
don't.
call the title company, whoever you're closing out, or you call your agent, and they're going to tell you, do not send it to this. Now I've had that happen too, where they did wire it to somebody else,
I've heard
and
of
they've
that.
lost $5,000 or their down payment.
Right, because there is no insurance on wire
Right.
fraud at this time.
Right.
Right.
So it's very, very dangerous, and it's happening every day. So don't get mad at us when we ask for a whole bunch of nosy questions. You have to have it. It's for your protection.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Nina, for taking a little bit of time out of your day to elaborate for us.
Not a
Thank
problem.
All right.
Thank
Well, y'all have a good
Thank you,
week.
ladies.
See you next
Bye.
Tuesday.
Bye.